there's a lot of bands right now, and I think we're really fortunate that we're living in a time right now where there's a lot of Chicano artists. There's a lot of Chicano punk, especially in Southern California. There's a lot of bands that are emerging, and it's really cool to see that kind of representation. Um, so I think for us, it's just finding a way to separate ourselves. How do we, we want to thrive in that space because that's our community, but we also don't want to sound like everybody else either. Like when you tell somebody like, yeah, I'm in a Chicano indie punk band from Southern California, you kind of have an idea of what that would sound like. And I think our goal is just like to kind of break that mold up and kind of show people like, yeah, we can be this, but we can also sound like whatever we want to sound like.
Rob Ruckus,
Nick Collins,
Kate Clover,
Keith Semple,
Isaiah Mitchell,
Billy Harvey,
Tim Howard. Check it out, Almost Famous Magazine.
Hey everyone, welcome back to The Hang, brought to you by Almost Famous Magazine. I'm your host, Scott Saldinger. Thanks so much for joining us. You're in the place you come to hang with artists and get to know their stories well beyond just the music. If you're new to the channel, thanks so much for joining us. Please do us a favor, subscribe, ring the bell, leave comments, all the good stuff you know to do. And if you've come back to join us again and you haven't told your friends about us, please, come on, do a solid for us, would you? Also, you may want to be the kind of person who likes to take your podcast on the go. We got you covered. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, anywhere you get your podcast episodes. Now, I am so jazzed for today's guest, and he doesn't even know why yet. So this is going to be a massive, massive surprise. I'm joined today, by Southern California's Integra Pink's Leo Mendez. He and his brother Bardo, who are on vocals and guitar, Nick Howdigi on drums, and Roman De La Fuente on bass, are shape-shifting. That's kind of a superhero reference. We're going to get to that. Band blending, hardcore, intensity, new wave, cumbia, disco, and Latin rhythms. Everyone who watches knows that I love a good musical stew. Into music that refuses to stay in one lane. And let me tell you, I love where they're heading. With Spiderman Piñata, the song that got my attention, earning heavy rotation on KCRW, and the urgent new single CURBSTOMP, confronting the cycles, perpetrators, and consequences of violence, this band pairs fearless experimentation with lyrics rooted in cultural identity, political resistance, and the realities facing theirs and our community, quite frankly, with their raw DIY series PinkTv documenting their journey, and a new EP, Integra Pink, are also hitting the road this summer, and you're going to get a chance to see them. Leo's here to tell us how they keep pushing beyond the comfort zone. So, Leo, I'm so excited to have you here, dude. Welcome to The Hang.
Thank you for having me. I'm super stoked to be here.
And super is just the beginning. Trust me.
Yeah, you keep alluding.
We're gonna have a lot of superhero references, but first,
okay,
where we start, and this is so important because, man, I got to learn your story. How did your relationship with music begin? Like, literally, did you find music or did music find you? And how did it get you and your brother in the band to where you are now?
I think music found us, and I think my dad and my mom were like the middlemen. We grew up kind of listening to a lot of my dad's music, a lot of the Beatles, Beach Boys, Simon and Garfunkel, like the Eagles, a lot of that kind of stuff. And then it was like ran me around. Well, actually, before that, my dad had one rule for like all of us. It was you play one instrument and you play one sport. So my brother and I, we both played baseball, but then I picked the drums and he picked the guitar. So from the beginning, like he just wanted us to stay out of the street. Like he wanted us to always be busy. After a while, I became more focused on music, but since the beginning, like just always playing music in the house, listening to records. Like literally some of my earliest memories are just listening to music with my parents, with my grandma. So it started really, really young.
Yeah. So what when it got started though, like you and your brother decide you're gonna do music together, form a band, take those how did it all come together, right? And tell me about the journey to get to this great new EP release and all the exposure you guys are earning.
So yeah, I played baseball and music, and it was around. I played from T-ball all the way to high school. It was around my junior year where I was like, you know what, baseball is fun. It's just not what I see myself doing for the rest of my life. So I quit baseball to start a band. Um, at the time, I was the drummer of a band that was kind of like Led Zeppelin-ish, AC/DC kind of stuff. I was in that band for about a year, and then after a while, I was like, you know what, like this is fun, but I want to sing my own songs, and I can't really write on the drums. So I picked up the guitar, and I looked over my brother. You know, he plays the guitar, so we're like, you want to start a band? And then we started a band. It wasn't Integra Pink, but that band was active up until COVID. And so when COVID hit, um, you know, we couldn't go record anymore. We couldn't go practice anymore. And so the first couple months of COVID were actually kind of cool because like I was getting unemployment and playing video games. But after a while, I was like, I got to go back recording, but I know how. So I just saved up my unemployment. I bought the laptop. I bought the studio, like, sorry, not the studio. I bought like the recording equipment, the microphone, the headphones, and just taught myself how to mix. And so then around 2021, 2022, I had a bulk of like, so I had like maybe 7 songs. Um, and I showed them to the old band. I was like, hey, I initially like wanted this to be like maybe like a solo thing, but just like these are songs that I just made on my own. But to I want all of us to play them, and I want to stop that last band, and I want to start a new band called Integra Pink. And so we all just kind of jumped in on it. This was 2023, 2022, and then since then it was just like um, been growing since, and been really fortunate to get the platform that we have. But it's been a long journey for us.
You know, and you're definitely getting the you're definitely getting the reward right now. I mean, you guys have been putting out songs and videos this year. You're hitting the road. I mean, you're getting what you deserve for the work you put in for sure. So
Thank
I'm
you.
excited. Um, let's start with a little bit of your music to talk about where some songs come from. A little bit
Okay.
about, let's say, lyrics. Let's say, you know, and what germinates these for you, because you've got some incredible messages that I think resonate with a lot of people these days. So Curb Stomp, let's talk about that one. Walk me through the birth of Curb Stomp.
Curb Stomp. So a lot of these songs started with the we signed with a label called Quiet Panic, but we're in there like I don't know what they're called, but it's like a subsection of Quiet Panic called Futureless, and we're on the phone with them, and they were asking us like, if we sign you, like, what are you guys thinking of doing? And we've been so used to just releasing singles, and then they said, well, it'd be really cool if you guys did an album. And so that got me thinking. That got us thinking of like, okay, well, how would that look like? Because we've really just been really used to just recording a song, putting out, recording a song, putting out, but having to record all these songs at once, wait and sit on them until they're all ready to be released. It got me thinking like, okay, well, honestly, like, I want to make a group of songs that are cohesive. So I scrapped a lot of the songs that I had already that I wanted as singles because I just viewed them as singles, standing on their own, and just started writing a cohesive kind of set of songs. So Curbstomp kind of was birthed with a lot of the other songs on the record. But Curbstomp, that one was initially going to be called Jawbreaker, but um, I knew, like, I don't know, I knew I wanted a title that kind of got somebody's attention, and Jawbreaker was cool. I just thought Curbstomp was just a little bit more cool, I guess. Um, but yeah, I mean, it samples a song called Pila Canela by Los Panchos, and I've always heard that song, and I always thought, like, how come no one's ever sampled this? And so one day I just sampled it on my own. I made it in like 30 seconds, and I sent it to the band, and they were all psyched about it. Um, and then I just kind of cooked on my own until it was all ready, and then I showed them. Like, it was like kind of a song that it came together kind of naturally, and I wrote it really quickly. Not quickly, but it just kind of, it was like almost writing itself. But yeah, I mean, that song's probably one of my favorites on the album. Um, yeah, it kind of came kind of naturally, I think.
What was the you know, the inspiration though for the message, and you know, where does that come from? Are you writing all the lyrics yourself? Are the guys in the band contributing? How collaborative is it?
So the two primary songwriters are myself and then my brother Bardo. and it's really interesting how like we have such different writing styles. I he likes bringing an idea, and we'll kind of all piece it together. We'll all write together. And me, I kind of don't like showing someone something until it's done, and that goes for a lot of things that I do. Like I draw, and I don't like anyone seeing my drawings until they're done. I don't like anybody singing a song until it's finished. I don't know what that is about me, but the lyrics I had written myself, and that was one of the cases where sometimes when you're writing a song, these like string of words kind of come at you, and it's maybe because it just sounds phonetically the best, and you kind of leave them in as a placeholder, and then later on you'll kind of find your way to the meaning of it. Um, but I already knew that I wanted to be a song with a heavy message. It didn't strike me as a love song, So I forgot which. I think it was the one about can you really make a fist while you're sitting on your hands? Can you really tell the difference between a pistol and a man? I think that was the lyric that like kind of started it all. And then once I sat with it for about a week and started to unpack it, I'm like, okay, like I know what what it what it's gonna be. I know what it could be, and then yeah, after that, just the lines started coming. But yeah,
So since you share songwriting with your brother, tell me about kind of there has to be a trust just beyond that brotherly trust when you're creating together. What's that like with you and your brother?
I think it's a big part of it is us growing up, listening to the same stuff, and having a trust for each other's tastes. Like we kind of know if you were to give us like 10 records and we listen to it on our own, we'd come back and say these ones are good, these ones are bad, and most likely we'd probably say the same ones are good. Like we kind of have that same. We know what we like, um, and so I think after doing it for so long, I mean, we've not including Integra Pink, just been in a band for I want to say I don't even know what year is it, 12 years. Like we've seen each other grow as songwriters, we've seen each other grow as guitar players, as musicians and artists, and so that trust it started off as that brotherly like that's my brother, but as as the more time goes on, it's like no, like I trust him because not only is my brother, but because I know the songs he writes, and I know he writes good songs, and I hope he has that trust for me too. But yeah, I mean, same with the guys. Nick has been we've been making music with Nick for 10 years, and Roman joined maybe about a year and a half, maybe 2 years ago. But um, we've known him before that, and we've gelled really well. So I think trust is a big player in what we do, and the fact that we all kind of bring something different to the table, and we kind of know what to expect from each other. I think that's yeah, a big role in our relationship.
Nice, nice. Well, now I've got to ask, if you and your brother have disagreements, is it mom or dad who settles the score between the two of you? How's that? How's that become a democratic or a tie breaking situation?
It's funny because now it's like we don't argue as much anymore, but maybe 2 or 3 years ago we argued. Like we would not fist fight, but we would fight, and usually it's in the band room, and Nick is in the corner, kind of playing. Uh, the what's it called? The He's like in the middle, just kind of trying to keep the peace. And we've kind of worked on our communication. We didn't fix it completely, but we still have disagreements. But um, yeah, usually it's Nick or Roman kind of saying, "Hey, I hear you guys, but what Leo's trying to say is this, and Bardo, what Bardo's trying to say is this," and they. So really, it's yeah, everything that kind of happens in the band, we try to keep in the band. But yeah, it's usually Nick or Roman that has to sit there. Yeah,
Well, you know what I mean. At some point, because you guys are definitely on the front end of an aspiring career, we're gonna have all the guys on for another episode with like
cool.
if
Yeah,
you have a big release or something, and I'll be asking them the same question. It'll be interesting to see if they A watch this and B what their response is. Um, let's talk about 1999. Walk me through that song.
that song. Believe it or not, we that song's maybe almost 10 years old. That one we wrote with our last band. It's my brother's song, 2017, I want to say he first showed us, and it sounded a little bit different. It was the same structure, it was the same riff, a little bit more, maybe a little bit more. It sounded a little bit more like The Cure. It was a little bit more mellow, but we when we first recorded it, 9, 10 years ago, for some reason it just didn't. I don't know what it was, but we just didn't like it, and so we put it on the shelf. Um, and then when we decided, we were trying to figure out what songs were going to go on this album. We were looking at what we had and what we wanted to use, what we didn't want to use. And I always thought that that was like one of my favorite songs that my brother had written. And I was telling him like, work on this one, like let's all workshop it together. And we finally crafted it to kind of fit what we do now. But that song is old, and even like the lyrics, I don't know if Bar's ever changed that. Like it's yeah, if you want to, yeah, it's an old song, but I like it. It's probably one of my favorite songs that he's written.
Yeah, yeah. So before we get to the last song we're going to talk about, which is the one I'm most excited about, um, I'm going to ask, how did you and your brother and the guys decide that you were going to bring all these different influences together and combine them to really kind of make a feel, a sonic feel of your own, right? Because you definitely sound different than many other bands out there these days. How did that come together, and were those decisions made?
Honestly, it was like during COVID. I think I've always been a huge fan of the Beatles. My favorite band of all time is The Clash, and The Clash is to me like the greatest band of all time. What they do is so eclectic. They every album they've continued to grow. And then during quarantine, I got really into Ween. And if anyone knows anything about Ween, every song sounds so different from each other. They'll have a country song next to a thrash song next to an electron. It's like I just took a lot of inspiration from that. And then once the old band kind of died, I don't hate what we did with that old band, but I think what we were doing was kind of middle of the road. You can kind of tell that we liked the Strokes a lot, we liked the Vaccines and Weezer a lot, and it was cool, But this time around, I was like, you know what? Let's just do whatever we want to do. Like, we like so many things. Like, and we would always tell people like, we make music that we want to listen to, but then we listen to so many different things. Like, I love punk, but I also like hip hop. I like country. I like electronic. I like so many different types of music. And then Nick is really into metal and hard rock. And then Bardo. It's like we all have different influences. Why are we making songs that only sound like the Strokes? Why are we making songs that only sound like Weezer? I was like, you know what? Let's stop doing that. So this time around, we're just like, let's do whatever we want to do. Like genuinely, like whatever we want to do. And with that, there's some songs that sound more different than others. Like How's It Gonna End probably sounds a lot different than Spiderman Piñata. But like, there's like this Integra Pink thread that runs through them because it's coming from us. At the end of the day, like we're the ones that are writing the songs. It's just kind of like, well, how do we want this song to sound? Do we want this to be a punk song, a cumbia song? So I think it's just the fact that we kind of broke down that wall of like trying to write like a band. We're just like, let's just write like whatever we want to write, like.
Yeah, no, I think that's great, and I think it shows in a way, it shows a sense of fearlessness because you're willing to try whatever the hell you want to try, and let people find their way to it, as opposed to kind of fit into a specific place that other people want. So
Yeah. Oh no, sorry. I was gonna say, I think there's a lot of bands right now, and I think we're really fortunate that we're living in a time right now where there's a lot of Chicano artists. There's a lot of Chicano punk, especially in Southern California. There's a lot of bands that are emerging, and it's really cool to see that kind of representation. Um, so I think for us, it's just finding a way to separate ourselves. How do we want to thrive in that space because that's our community, but we also don't want to sound like everybody else either. Like when you tell somebody like, yeah, I'm in a Chicano indie punk band from Southern California, you kind of have an idea of what that would sound like. And I think our goal is just like to kind of break that mold up and kind of show people like, yeah, we can be this, but we can also sound like whatever we want to sound like.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And that really leads us to a song that, by the time I got to the end of it, I was like, holy shit. Spider-Man Piñata. for which I've had to I've listened to it, but I had to watch it because the video has words in it, and I'm still wondering. I got to know where Spiderman Piñata comes from in the world of this song, because you started off and it doesn't necessarily feel punk, right? Doesn't feel rock, but man, that ending will blow you away. And I want to know the whole story, and then I'm going to tell you why I'm so fascinated with this, because I'm leaving you in suspense.
Yeah. I am. Yeah, I'm like eager to know because you keep alluding to something. So Spiderman Piñata, that was a song. We were jamming in the room one day, and Bardo was just kind of playing with his the wah pedal, and I was like, oh, we could do something with that. And so that's another song that kind of like it was like kind of writing itself. We all kind of wrote it. But you talk about the name specifically.
Well, let's talk about the song and how the name came to it. I think we can get that at the end, and we'll dovetail into why my fascination. But
Okay, yeah,
it is a powerful song.
thank you.
It is a very powerful song. So I want to know the whole thing.
Sure, yeah. So we were. So actually, it's funny because we used to do this cover of a band called Caifanes, and the song's called La Negro Tomasa, and it's like a cumbia. It's like an '80s uh, cumbia. It's like rock en español, and we would cover that song. And one day, Barros was kind of messing around with that song on his own. In the we're all there, but he was just kind of playing by himself, and he was playing that riff on the wah pedal, and I was like, that could be a different song. Like, I know what you're playing, but we can write something else on that. And so that intro with the that's how it started, and then we kind of built on top of that to where Nick was kind of playing different drum beats, and we landed on that one, the kind of disco-y one. And then there was maybe about a week. It was just the beginning. It was just like not the punk part at the end. It was just like the cumbia disco kind of sound. And then one day, I think I was like in the shower. I was just like thinking, like, okay, like it's cool, but like, how can we change it up? And then I just like thought, like, oh, like, what if we just made it like maybe just like took a hard left and made it like a punk song. And so like I like immediately got out of the shower, like I got my phone, made a voice note of like making the drum beat in my mouth, like just like thinking of like how it could sound. And then the next practice, I told him like, I think we should just cut the song and then just like go into a completely different section. And then we tried it, and it was like, yeah, this is cool. And so then we just kind of like polished it up a bit, and then got to where it was. Um, and so yeah, that's we all kind of had a part in that song, like writing it. And then it kind of came down to the lyrics. And this was maybe I kind of wrote this early last year, and then things on the news started popping up about ICE, and immigration isn't something new. Like the problems with immigration and the problems with that's not something that's been going on for a long time. But I think now that everyone's got a camera in their pocket, it's we're seeing it a lot more now. And when that was all kind of coming up, I was like, okay, well, now I know what it has to be about. Like, to me, it just kind of felt like there was no other. That song could not be a heartbreak song. That song could not be a love song. Like, it was begging to be about that. And so, for me, that song probably took the longest to write the lyrics for. And it's so unfortunate that by the time that I finished writing the lyrics, it was still relevant, you know. And so, the song took me a long time to write the lyrics for. Not because I didn't know what to talk about, but it's because it was talking about something that is personal, but also it was affecting our community, and I really wanted to make sure I was using the right words because I didn't want to mince my words at all, but I wanted to make sure that the lyrics were hitting, touching the right things. And the song is about ICE. The song is about what I'm seeing, but primarily what the song was about was the people that I'm seeing are either complacent or supporting these kinds of things. Specifically, the two communities are the religious and Latino communities. You know, I grew up going to church. My brother and I grew up going to a Christian school. We grew up being taught these ideas about what Jesus wanted us to believe and what he was. Love your neighbor, care for the sick, care for the poor, feed the hungry. And these are things that these are principles that were kind of instilled in me at a really young age, and they've, affected me. And I think I don't know how long, maybe 6, 8 years ago, I kind of disassociated myself with the religion because I just felt as though, um, like the lyric says, what you bought wasn't what was sold. Like I'm looking around, I'm seeing people that I disagree with vehemently, but what they're saying that they believe in the same thing that I believed, but they're supporting things that are antithetical to what Jesus preached. And so for a long time, I considered myself an atheist, and then I started thinking about it more, and I was like, you know what? I don't know if my problem is with the with Jesus. I think my problem was with people who were claiming to love Jesus, but were acting in ways that would go completely against what he taught. Um, and so that's partly what the song was about, was just kind of seeing people support these things that I know if Jesus were to come down right now, he'd be like, what are you guys doing? Like, this is insane. This is completely opposite of what I was teaching you guys. And then the other half was a lot of Latinos were saying, well, if you just come here the right way, uh, this wouldn't be a problem. But these are people who are very privileged that their parents came or their grandparents came and they didn't have to fight for it. I'm very fortunate that, my mom was born in Tijuana and she came here, and I'm very fortunate that her parents and her parents, made the trip here, and I don't take that lightly. And so I feel really fortunate, really blessed. But there's a lot of people whose parents were born in Mexico, and then they came here, and then they were born saying like, no, like you gotta do it the right way, and it's just like, no, like there's no empathy, there's no sympathy. And to me, that's what the song's about, just kind of saying like, what are we doing? Like, that's kind of what the line at the end when they're talking about it, what I'm saying when they're talking about when I'm saying when the what did I say? What's the lyric?
Oh man,
Something about I don't. It's just funny because I don't know my lyrics until I'm singing them.
Well, and I forget the last lyric because like as soon as the lyric's over, and you basically, you don't even fade, you just drop, and there's that pause, and I'm like, by then I'm like, holy shit, we're in another dimension here. So I don't remember.
It's I think it's how does it feel when you finally get in the wilderness? Oh, and you get a kick to the head when it really be your own, like people that would consider you brothers or sisters are the ones kind of kicking you down. I don't know. And so that's to me what the song was about. And I always thought Spiderman Piñata would be a cool song name. And so on my phone, I have a note of a lot of song names that are ideas that I think would be cool song names. And one day I was watching Spider-Man, and at least in the first two, those are probably my favorite. The ones with Toby. The cops don't like Spider-Man. Like the cops don't like Spider-Man. The news doesn't like Spider-Man. Even some of but Spider-Man is like, regardless of whether or not, like it's gonna sound a little convoluted, but the people that you would think would like Spider-Man are the cops, because Spider-Man's out there fighting the bad guys, but the cops are hating Spider-Man, and it's just like the people that you would think would be on his side are not. And so it's just like this, when I was younger, I was taught all these things, and I was taught to love them, love your neighbor, help the poor. And it's the people that you would think would be in support of that are not. And it's just, to me, I don't know. I found a lot of I just kind of related the two, and I was like, you know what? I don't know. I just kind of felt like Spider-Man. I don't know. I think that's where it kind of drew together.
I think that's you've connected some pretty incredible dots there to really hit on something that is so true. I mean, look, at the end of the day, we're all made of the same stuff. So why the hell
Yeah.
can't we just treat each other like we're all made of the same stuff? We're born the same way. We're going to die the same way. And in between, we have to go on a very difficult journey, and no one gets to a destination on their own. And
Yeah.
why we can't understand that, and we're using theologies as a cudgel for hypocrisy, right?
Yeah.
For beating each other up, to be the best hypocrites possible, to say we're good people, yet we treat so many bad, just blows my. I don't understand it at all.
Yeah. That's where my frustration kind of came from, and I think because I could have named it Spider-Man, but I think the piñata for me was just the fact that these are principles that were instilled in me when I was really young, and I think a good symbol for youth is just kind of like a piñata. That's what the kids have at their birthday parties. When your mom asks you, like, "Hey, what kind of party do you want? What piñata do you want?" You're thinking of things that you really love. You're thinking of things like the Power Rangers, and for me, it was Spider-Man. And to me, that was just my way of showing, like, well, these are principles that were instilled in me really young. Spider-Man Piñata, like I had a Spider-Man Piñata when I was young, and I had that connection to him because he did what he knew what was right, despite being in the face of people telling him that. So to me, that's kind of where the name came from. I know it might sound a little convoluted, but for me, it was just like, yeah.
See, that's great. That is great. So for those who have watched us before, and you may or may not know the band or how this story came about, but I'm going to tell everybody, if you've watched this before and you know what we're about to talk about, you have your marching orders if you see Integra Pink on tour this summer. So I don't know if you know the band Clit 45. Have you ever heard that band?
That name sounds familiar.
They're LA, a little bit harder, definitely a harder version of punk than you guys. And last year they played Punk Rock Bowling, and Dave Martinez, the lead singer, he was on the podcast with another member of the band, like all through the podcast, they're talking about Peter Parker. Now, Peter Parker, yes, it's a fictionalized name for Spider-Man, but there are people on this earth named Peter Parker. So I'm not one to make assumptions.
Yeah.
And we're going through, I'm like, guys, like, is this a member of the band I'm not aware of? Like, is this the guy who goes on the road with you? What is this Peter Parker? They go, dude, Spider-Man. And I'm like, okay, I got to understand why you keep talking about Peter Parker like he's there with you. So they proceed to tell a story, and I'll just paraphrase most of it here because I don't remember all the specifics. It's been about a year. But they're like, yeah, we had this show, and like there was a Spider-Man Piñata at one of the band's merch table. And while they're up on stage, somebody throws Spider-Man to the stage, and Dave throws it back into the mosh pit. And let's just say good things did not happen to Spider-Man that day. So
yeah,
they played a club show at Punk Rock Bowling a year ago, and I just kind of got it in my head that Spider-Man needed to be at their club show, and that was going to be something that could be interesting, to say the least. So I'll link to the video of what happens with Spider-Man down below so people can see. But basically, Spider-Man got tossed into a human blender with 5 pounds of candy on a wet mosh pit floor. One of the most violent mosh pits, to the point of a human blender, I've ever seen in my life. And pieces of Spider-Man ended up everywhere, all over the place. And the next day, as I'm walking around asking people what was their highlight of their first night of Punk Rock Bowling, oh my God, somebody killed Spider-Man. They killed Spider-Man. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. 6 months later, I live in the Dallas area. I'm in a punk bar. This guy walks in, and it was like within a week of them announcing they weren't going to do Punk Rock Bowling. And I'm sitting there with a friend and she and I are just talking. This guy hears us talking. We start chatting back and forth. Oh man, I was at Punk Rock Bowling last year. I go, what was your highlight? He goes, dude, you're never going to believe what happened. I go, what? He goes, they fucking killed Spider-Man, man. They just, I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah. Dang.
And when I saw all I had to see was the still from the video on the press release. I'm like, I gotta know these guys.
Yeah, that's so funny.
Everybody, you have your marching orders. We'll put the tour dates below. One of you better show up with a Spiderman Piñata to one of their shows.
That would be insane.
It is crazy. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna make sure Dave sees this because I told him we were gonna talk about it, and he's like, "You've got to be kidding me." And when I listened to this, I'm like, "There's no Spider-Man. I mean, there's no Spider. Where's the Spider-Man?" And then the one still is him just hanging off the wall. And the music video, by the way, is that your family? Is that your family in that video?
Yeah. So there's my family, friends, and then our bassist families also, and our drummer. Yeah, actually, all our families in there. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great video. I mean, I think
Thank
from
you.
a cultural standpoint, not only the lyrics, but it has that sense of family if you even watch it with the sound off. And I love that. Like you can tell these people were passionate about one another. So Spiderman Piñata, that's Leo's story. That's my story. There'll be links below, and you know what you need to go do. This may or may not happen yet for you guys, but you're on this, like you guys are like going like this right now. And from our conversation earlier about how, you know, you were kind of sitting around during COVID, and you had this other band, and then you started kind of mixing with things. Have you had a moment yet? And it's okay if you haven't, but as Integra Pink, have you had a moment that was just kind of like, aha, holy shit, this is where I wanted it to be or where I wanted to go? Have you had just one of those moments that stopped you in your tracks? And if so, what was it?
Damn. I think we've had, you know, the thing that's really cool is that we've kind of had a couple moments like that where it's just like you kind of see yourself coming to the next level. And our first year as a band, we played 2 or 3 shows every single weekend. Sometimes we would play 2 shows in one day, and we would always play shows every weekend. Like it was, I can't overstate like how many shows we played. Like it was so many. And then one day, we played a show, and you know, when we're playing shows, we're playing house shows, we're playing in bars, we're playing in venues, whatever. But there was one day where we played a show, and we just noticed that there were a lot of people there, and we were just kind of going into thinking like, oh, it's just gonna be another show, and we started noticing like, well, hey, like we packed out the place, and that's when I started to kind of realize that, you know, for a long time we were a band that was just kind of gigging and playing shows, but now it's just like, oh, people are actually paying attention to what we're doing. And then I remember being in our old band, I would always see local bands with like 1,000 followers, and I would always think like, dude, if I could get 1,000 followers, like I know I'd made it and I would never give up. And I remember when we hit our first 1,000, it's never really about the numbers, but it was just about something that seeing that many people care about what we do and just kind of following us and wanting to see what else we can, you know, put out. It was just that, you know, just kind of seeing the progress real time was just like, whoa, like, I don't know, like we always say like, yeah, I think we can make it. But then when it actually starts, you know, coming to fruition and people start coming, and you're just like, whoa, what the hell? But, you know, I'm really fortunate, but also maybe it's unfortunate. I don't know. Like, I feel like because we're always in it, because we're always in the group, it's hard to see the progress until someone from the outside kind of tells you. And it's, you know, it's those moments don't come too often where it's like, oh, damn. But, you know, I mean, our manager tells us, like, he's like, hey, you guys are doing good. I'm like, okay. Like, I trust you. Like, I don't like looking at the numbers at all. Like, I don't like looking at the Spotify numbers or anything, because it ruins my day. Like, I don't know. Like, even if it's good, even if it's bad, I just don't like my emotions being attached to it. But yeah, it's every now and then a moment will you know, like I'll be at dinner and then someone be like, "Hey, are you in Integra Pink?" And I'm just like, "Oh, damn!" Like, okay, like that's when you kind of remember, like, oh yeah, like people that I don't even know me. Like I don't know, it's and it's weird talking about it because I don't want to sound egotistical or like I don't want to sound like yeah I'm in a band, but it's just like moments like that is when I realized okay, like yeah, this kind of stuff, it's what we're doing is kind of becoming bigger than what we are, you know. So I don't know if we've ever had like a specific like aha moment, but like it's like little stuff here and there that kind of tells us, you know.
Well, I think I think you gotta give yourself the grace to allow people to recognize those things, because it is very difficult when you're in the center of the storm, right?
Mm,
To see the calm on the edges, right?
true.
Or it's kind of like weight loss. You go on a diet, right?
Yeah.
Until you look in the mirror and you feel different, you don't think you're different,
Yeah.
right? Nothing has changed, and it comes incrementally and over time, and the pace that we always want things to happen isn't always the pace they're gonna happen at. So
Hmm.
I think you have to give yourself that, because you're in a special time with the band, right? You guys are really, the traction is really starting to take hold. And I don't think you want to be there 10 years from now and go, shit, I missed the wrong moments. The wrong
Yeah.
moments mattered, and the moments that mattered didn't get counted, right?
Yeah.
So give yourself that. It's okay. It's okay. It's not, I don't think anything of it's egotistical, right? I mean, being an arrogant
Yeah.
son of a bitch, being inaccessible to those people, not treating your fans with love, kindness, and respect, that's a whole other thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
But when people, are willing to acknowledge the good, take it. Because for every one, there's many more assholes out there who'll say something negative, right?
Yeah.
Who'll say something shitty because they don't have what you have, or they don't have that opportunity, right? So, you know, give it to yourself. And now that I kind of hit on that, I do have a question I'd like to talk about. How do you guys, right? This is your passion, your heart, and your soul, and your culture that you're putting out there for the world, right? And we do live in a world with a fair amount of hate these days, right?
Hmm.
Do you guys experience that when you're putting out your songs? You get some haters, and if so, how do you deal with any of the negativity that comes in your way? What do you do to keep on that brighter side and keep focused on those goals?
A lot of the hate that I get from my brother. No, just kidding. we
Well,
we argue a lot. I,
that's a
yeah.
challenging one. That's the most challenging kind of hate,
Yeah.
right?
No. Yeah. I mean, I think. I think. I think we're very fortunate that what we do is really genuine, and what I mean by that is that I think it's kind of I don't know how to word this. I think sometimes when you're listening to music, you can kind of tell when the song is written for like the audience and kind of they wrote it with the mentality of like, yeah, this is gonna pop off. And I hope that's not what people get from us, because we're genuinely crafting these songs because it's something that's really genuine to us and something that is coming from a real place. And so whenever you do something like that, whenever you're proud of it on your own and you release it, no matter what anyone says, it's like that's just gonna you can tell me whatever, but I know I love it. It's when you release something that you're unsure about and you're like, well, I hope they like it. That and then you start getting hate. Then you're like, damn. But it's like, no, I don't care. Like I did this for me. Like I think this is cool as shit. Like, uh, I hope. I'm not to say that I don't poll people that like it. I'm not saying fuck you to the audience, but at the end of the day, like I take, I don't take the audience for granted at all. Like we cannot do what we do without them, and I would never just give them the finger at ever. But I also like I want to stay true to what we want to do as an artist. So whenever you do that, I think it's really easy to just kind of ignore any hate. But also, I think we're fortunate to not have received a lot of hate. You know, and I'm also I'm really, at least I think I'm good about not looking at that kind of stuff. I kind of just I don't want I don't. It's not that I don't want anyone's input. It's just that I don't want it. I don't want to let it affect me, good or bad. So like, my dad, he's a big critic. Um, Nick, our drummer, his dad is also a big critic, but you obviously know it's coming from the right place. It's coming from someone who cares about what we do. So stuff like that, when they tell me like, oh yeah, like I'll listen. Um, but if someone comes up to us after a show and is like, you guys gotta start doing this, I'm just like, okay, yeah, for sure. Like it just one ear at the other, I don't know. But yeah.
Well, you got. I mean, look, you got to listen to your dads. I mean, one thing that you mentioned is, hell, I still listen to my dad. So you're never too old to listen to your dad. That's part of being a son, right? But one of the things you mentioned, and it sounds like you've learned this early on. Took me a little while to learn this because I went to film school. I've been a photojournalist. I do concert photography. So if you guys are coming to Dallas, I'm taking pictures for sure.
Oh hell yeah.
But it took me a long time to realize two things. Number one, perfection is the enemy of good. And number two, everything that I love that I think is my best work, you put it out there and some people are like, meh. And then you're like, yeah, this is a piece of crap. And people are like, oh my God, that's incredible. It's the best you've ever done.
Yeah.
You have to be accepting of the fact that you can't control either end of those spectrums or either end of the spectrum on that. And that, you have to give people the opportunity to figure out what it means to them. And if you can just do that, you'll be okay. If you want to control every little thing, if it's, that perfection, it'll drive you batshit crazy and you're never gonna be happy.
And it does. Like everything that I've ever released is like, I produce and I'll mix it. And it's like when you're in that chair, it's like the tiny stuff that you're stressing about are some things that 99% of people won't even notice. And I'm a perfectionist. I'll spend nights here. I'll like spend a lot of time just like crafting it. But at the end of the day, what people really care about is just a good song. They don't really, most people, there's some audio engineers out there will care about how compressed the snares or whatever. But for the most part, it's just like these are things that most people don't really think about. So yeah, 100%.
Yeah, you can send yourself down to some really deep rabbit holes and realize that the only person it matters to is you.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah.
For sure. So far on your musical journey in your life, life in general is kind of like a series of sliding doors. People come and go. And I've learned over the years that when we're fortunate to pay attention to the people who come and the people who go, every now and then, not all the time, they'll give you like, a little something, words of wisdom, advice. They'll teach you something. It's kind of like they'll give you a lump of coal and they'll say you've shot, you compress it into a diamond, right? And then we get that, and then we go through our lives and we go, wow, I'm going to give that to somebody else, and I'm gonna make that impact. Has someone come along in your journey who has given you something that you're taking with you every day, and that when you're in conversations with people who have been through, let's say, a similar circumstance or situation, that you give to them? Is there someone who's impacted you that way?
My dad told me something a long time ago, and this was around maybe high school, where all I was really listening to. I mean, I started, exploring more sounds and more things, but I kind of stuck to the same five bands. It was like Arctic Monkeys, The Strokes, Green Day, The Clash. It was like stuff like that. And that's when I also started like making music. And my dad told me, you know, it's cool that you listen to these things, but if you only listen to that, um, that's all you're gonna make is that kind of music. If the only band you listen to is the Ramones and you make a band, you're gonna sound like the Ramones. And so early on, he told me listen to as much music as you can, listen to anything that you can, um, because all your it's gonna sound so obvious, but all your ideas come out of your head, right? And so what you put in is what you put out. So if you're listening to as many sounds as you can, it's like, it's like painting. If you're painting with um what's it called? Oh my goodness, I'm blanking.
Oils
When No, it's like
watercolors or
the colors. It's like the palette. If you're
the
painting with
palette.
a,
Yeah.
yeah, if you're painting with a palette with so many different, a million colors, you're gonna have a more unique painting than if you only had two or three colors. So, the more music you put in, the more interesting it's gonna sound coming out, and that's something that I've that's been in me, and I don't know if I ever actually told my dad that, but like, even if you listen to something and you don't like it, now we sit and, okay, well, you think, well, what don't I like about it, and you learn something either way. If you listen to something and you love it, well, that's something else that you can listen to. But if you listen to something and you don't like it, well, now you know what you don't like about it. So it's just like, I'm always trying to listen to new music, and whenever people tell me like, well, what do you listen to, like, I genuinely tell them, like, I genuinely, like, I try to listen to everything. So to me, I think that's definitely helped shape Integra. I think just the fact that we all listen to a lot of different things, that's definitely helped the output be a lot more eclectic.
You got the hair on my back of my neck up because you made me think of something, and that whole color palette, whether it's an audio palette or
Yeah.
every crayon in the box. There was a singer songwriter died way too young by the name of Harry Chapin. I don't know if you ever heard of him. Your dad might have.
Uh,
And he had a song. There's so many colors in the rainbow, and it was about how this teacher wanted to limit a student to draw and sign the lines with one color. And that what your dad told you really reminded me of that idea, that you have so much you can work with. You don't have to paint with the same color. You don't have to use the same sound. As a matter of fact, it's kind of vanilla. And if I'll tell you this, if you guys were vanilla in your sound, you and I probably wouldn't be talking right now, because the things that I look for that really excite me about artists these days is the ones that are using as much of the palette as possible and doing what they can to stand out in a crowd, right? Because it's hard. It's so hard to get the attention these days because there's so much of it out there. So keep doing that. And that's great advice that I'm sure you're going to give to someone else. And your dad was spot on. So I think that's great. One of the things that I enjoy doing is putting things out in the world, because sometimes we live with things in our head and they're ours, but we never share them and people don't know. And the only way things become real is if you grab, you've written lyrics, you grab a pen, piece of paper, you write them down, right? Then they become real, or you put them in your phone. So I want to put something real out there in the universe. Whether it's that you have a bucket list, a dream, or if you do a vision board, because you never know, everyone's got their thing. Is there an artist out there that if you had a chance to get in a studio and collaborate with for one day, make something together, learn something from one another, who would it be, and why that person?
I think it would be, there's a duo from Argentina called Catriel y Paco Amoroso. Have you heard of them?
Mm-mm.
They're a duo who I love their sound. The way I got into them was they did a Tiny Desk that blew up, because they really have such an eclectic sound. It's it has like the Latin rhythms, but it's a little hip hop, a little electronic, and it's just like this completely new blend of these things. And the reason that they kind of blew up was because the Tiny Desk was like so great, and then when everyone listened to what their actual music sounded like, it was like strictly electronic. Everyone was telling them like, "What? Like, you got to make music like the Tiny Desk." And so then they released I think it's an EP or an album called Papota, and they made songs that were like that, and it was just so eclectic. There was electronic, there was like hip hop, there was pop, there was rap, there was like jazzy drums. It was so eclectic, and like you, like that's what I get drawn to. Like artists like the Clash, who just they paint with so many different colors. That's just, to me, that's just like, I will always choose that. Like always choose the weird stuff, not the weird, but just like always the eclectic stuff, the different things. And when I heard that, I'm like, whoa! Like this was, I think that was like my most played album last year. It was just nothing but that. So I would love to meet, Catrell y Pacamoroso. Like they're insane. Like their songwriting skills, they're just so they're so eclectic, and they're so it's one thing to be eclectic, but also like anyone can be eclectic. Anyone can just write a country song and a rap song, but like the fact that it can be good, like the fact that they're so good at it, the fact that it's so consistent, and it doesn't sound like they're trying to be different. It just blends so well. That's what I really enjoy about them. So I think I'd probably choose them.
Well, now our audience has two things they have to do. Number
Yeah.
one, they got to come out and see you this summer, and they got to bring Spiderman Piñata. And
Yeah.
number two, if they are connected to them in any way, shape, or form, let's make that connection for Leo. Let's make that
Yes.
happen.
I would.
Because
Yeah.
that's one of the greatest things we can do in this world is help one another out. So you never know who's watching, but maybe you know them. Maybe you I don't know, handle their dry cleaning. Maybe you watch their kids. Maybe you walk the dog. I don't know. Maybe you see them at the coffee shop down the street. Either way, you got to tell them about Leo and Integra Pink.
Or just tag them in this.
Or tag them here. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, let's make something happen. Let's make something really super special happen. God, there's so much I want to talk about, but I got to be honest with you, dude. I want to have you back with the whole band.
Yeah.
I want to have you
Absolutely.
back. We're gonna do that for sure.
Yeah.
I want you got a chance to talk about the other guys. I want them to talk about you.
Okay.
And I know there's gonna be a lot of opportunities, and I think you and I, we could probably go on a tangent for about the next hour, because I think you and I are the guys that, when we're sitting around with our friends and we're talking about music, every artist we talk about, they're like, who in the hell is that? Like they don't know, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I have my tastes are across the board. I am always listening and looking for new stuff. Whether it's a brand new artist or an artist that, did something 20 years ago. I mean, I'm always just like, who can I listen to now? And then get on a kick and you go down that rabbit hole. So I think we could just hang out for hours doing that.
Yeah.
But super important. Number one, everybody, my expectation, whether it's Integra Pink or any artist that you find that you absolutely fall in love with their music, go buy it. There are going to be links below. You go buy it. You go and buy a ticket to the show. Whatever merch they have, and why do I have a strange feeling if they can get the copyright, there's going to be Piñata Spider-Man merch coming out of this band? I don't know. But support them. Because that manager that was getting talked about earlier, he's got to get paid. That room he's in, they got some rent, right? They're going out on tour. Gas.
I'm hungry.
Cheap. He's hungry.
I didn't eat
right.
lunch today.
I mean, it's not everybody wants a band sponsorship from Taco Bell. Maybe he likes to go. He's more of a fine dining kind of guy when he's out on the road. I don't know. But go out and support them. It's super important. And although Integra Pink, because Leo doesn't look, probably has 30 million listeners on Spotify, because remember, he doesn't look. That's for your ego, buddy. Go out and buy the music. Go out and support the band. Now he's like, shit, I better look. Where did he get that number from? So, and we've gone down a number of different paths, and I swear you and I could probably just sit and do this for hours, but kind of one of the ways I love wrapping this up, and you've mentioned a lot of artists, so I think maybe there's one or two you haven't let out of the bag yet. But if we're just sitting here and we're having that hangout and we're talking about different bands, are there one or two right now that are just kind of high on repeat for you that you're just really, really digging and enjoying, kind of in your daily life when you're not making your own music? Right? The one that you find one day, you're like, wait a minute. And then you got going to get stuck for a little while. Like, do you got anybody right now that's like that for you?
Dang. I really, Catra and Pacamoso, like them, I'm still on repeat for them. They just released a new album. There's a band called King Chango. They're from New York. They're older, I think, but they make some really great music. The singer died unfortunately 2017, but his brother filled in. But they're like this really cool blend of ska and punk, and they have a really great sound. King Chango, I've really been listening to them a lot lately. Probably say them. And then there's some really cool bands coming out of the scene right now. Spunk, we played with them not too long ago, and they were really awesome. Um, and there's like their homies like Los Tortones Atomicos. Like there's a lot of cool stuff, but King Chango is probably the one that I've been spinning the most recently.
Nice, nice.
Yeah.
I've got a few right now on serious heavy rotation. It's super interesting to me because for a long time there's a big period of my life where female singers and bands, it just wasn't working for me, right? And I don't know if it was just the sound or whatever, but one all female band that I can't get enough of is they're out of the Bay Area, is Bad Cop female punk band, dude. And the message, oh my God, the message from their songs is just so relatable, and they're delightful human beings. So Bad Cop is one. And like I mentioned, Easy Band. You got to check them out. I will definitely send you some stuff, but they've been on the podcast. They are amazing. And what they're doing by, there are many artists who do Tejano or Norteña Tejano, and they try to mix in some Anglo, and it gets a little campy.
Yeah.
This is not it at all. This is not it at all. This is unbelievable. And to see the audiences at their shows is just absolutely tremendous. So love listening to Easy Band because they're always coming out with some sort of new cover, and they've gone from like Adele to AC/DC and back. Like they've made every stop on the bus tour, right? There is so much stuff that they're doing, so I'm really enjoying them. And
another one is sorry, there's a band from there's two bands. There's one. Well, I was gonna say there's a band called Airbag, but there's two bands called Airbag. The one I'm talking about is the one from Spain. There's another one I think from Argentina, but I don't hate them, but I don't really care for them that much. The one from Spain, Airbag, they're great. I think they just released a new song, but they sound like that are like Ramones core, kind of like Screeching Weasels, the Queers, like that kind of stuff. But they're from Spain. It's really great music. Like it's really really cool stuff.
Nice. Have you ever listened to Alice Bag and the Bags? Have you gone back that far?
What year is that?
God, man, that's like early LA female punk. Like we're talking the 70s. I mean, definitely worth checking out Alice, especially if you get a chance to see her somewhere either near you before you hit the road, or she's doing a limited tour. This is the last time she's going out to do punk because she's got some other things on the horizon, and she's gotten to a point where doing a punk show is really tough at her age. But she's delightful, and the music is amazing. And I think it'll connect with you because she comes from similar background.
Alice Bags?
Alice Bag, yeah. I'll send you that one too. Okay, we could go on for hours. We're going to end up boring people. So here's what we're going to do. Again, number one, Spiderman Piñata. Find your piñata, your local piñata store in a city they're playing. The dates will be below. All right. Oh, look, we got a Spider-Man.
Yeah. I have like so many
Spider-Man. So get your Spider-Man Piñata, bring it to a show, and everyone's going to enjoy it. Number one. Number two, we're going to make that connection. You're going to hook them up down below. Number three, you're going to go out and support this band. You're going to support all the bands you love because it's so darn important. And then, as we say every single time we do this, find a moment in the day, give yourself a little peace, a little grace, a little acceptance, take a deep breath, and go find someone and give them that as well. Because the things you're going to get back from them in today's world, every day, it's never getting easier. It just brings you a little bit more joy and makes it easier. So go out and do that, Leo. This has been fantastic. We are doing this again. I'm gonna have to check out your tour dates, make sure, because if you're coming to Dallas or anywhere near me, I am gonna be at a show, and everyone else should be too. So Leo, this has been great. Thanks so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me. This was awesome. Appreciate it, man.
Man, a lot of fun. We are doing it again. So everybody, till we see each other again, take it easy. Bye for now.